Hey guys, what's going on? Matt here, and welcome back to the Black Ops 3 Mod Tools tutorial series. So then, in this video, we're going to be adding in an Easter egg music, Easter egg music, yeah, to our map. So first of all, what you need to do is, of course, download some files. Now, in the description, you'll find a link to these 4 files. I've got these 4 here. Okay, I'll probably put them in like a RAR file or something. So in the description, follow that link and that will take you to, of course, download them. You're also going to need 3 other files, which are sound files. Now, I won't be actually providing these in that download link. You will need to get these yourself. But all they are is the actual music itself and 2 triggers, okay? So one of them is the actual sound that plays when you actually, activate the object. Typically, it's like, like a bear or something. You'll sort of go up to and use that. And the other one is the sort of the 3D effect that you have around that object. So, as you get closer, obviously, it gets louder, so you can kind of know where the actual object is hiding. So, once you've got all those downloaded, if you are having any issues with sounds, I'd recommend going into the description. I will leave a link to 2 videos that I've made previously, which I go over sounds in quite a lot of detail. Now, obviously, throughout this video, while actually setting up your sounds, it would be a very good idea for you guys to have better knowledge already, just because I won't be going over it in as much detail. I've already done that. So I'd recommend going to have a look at them 2 videos, just so you kind of how sounds work in Black Ops 3. And of course, once you've done that, you might even know what I'm doing before I even do it. Really, it's nothing particularly difficult setting up sounds. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. So enough of that. Let's actually get to putting this into our map. So grab your sounds, each of the 3 ones that you want. Watch them previous videos so you know how to convert them over, how to actually make them work within the Black Ops 3 engine. And once you've done that, what you need to do is, of course, go over to your Black Ops 3 root directory, as we always do, and we're going to go and actually place a prefab in here. So within the download, you'll have this music Easter egg trigger.map. So I'm just going to copy this. Go to map source. This, of course, is in our Black Ops 3 root directory. We'll go over to prefabs, and I'm going to put it into my my personal folder, so program 115. Dump it into there. You can put this directly into prefabs. It doesn't really matter where you put it, just as long as it's within prefabs. So once we've done that, we now need to place this prefab into Radiant a few times. So I've already got my map opened up. I'm going to just quickly go down to prefab browser and just click reload so I can get my new content. We'll go down to my folder. Of course, if you put it directly into prefabs, it'll just be listed here. I didn't know, so I need to open up this folder and drag music Easter egg trigger.map into Radiant. I'm just going to rotate this just so it's actually facing the player. Now, as you can see, all it is a bear with a trigger around it. So let me just place it over here. There we go. Now, all you're going to do is you'll copy and paste this as many times as you like. I've set the script up so it works for if you have 2 of them, and it works if you have 10 of them. You put as many of them in as you want. I'm doing 3 just because typically that's how many Treyarch use. That's how most maps probably want to be using. So I've done that 3 times. I'm really quickly just going to go into the prefab just to show you guys how you can sort of change the model and such. So prefab, enter prefab, and if I go down to entity list, you can just select the model, but because it's within a trigger, it's hard to select. So I'm just going to select it that way. So all you need to do is, if you want to change this, you can either go to entity info and change the model itself, or you can actually go into models and change the model just by sort of double clicking on it, and of course it'll change the model. Obviously, choose one that's actually suitable. I'm not going to save this though, just because, I still want the bear. Now, if you want to change this to a damage trigger, so obviously at the moment, when you go up to the bear, you'll have to go up to it and press your use button on it. If you want it to be a system where you have to shoot it, I haven't tested this, but I don't have any reason to think it wouldn't work. So, you can absolutely, give it a try. You might be able to change this to a damage trigger. So by going to entity browser, down to, when I find it, trigger and damage. So if you replace it with a damage trigger instead, and of course keep the KVPs, just sort of copy the KVPs over, that might also work. But for this video, I'm using a use trigger, just because, well, That's what I'm using. So I'm going to right click prefab, leave prefab. Do you want to save? Nope. Damage triggers might not work. It's just, if you kind of wanting to do that, by all means, give it a try. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I just haven't tested that myself. So what we need to do next of all is actually add in the script itself. So we've got the 3 bears into the map. So all I'm going to do is just save that and close down Radiant. Next what I need to do is, as I said, doing the script. So I'm going to go over to my Black Ops 3 root directory, go over to your user maps, and go over to our map name. In this case, it's ZM test day. We'll go over to scripts, ZM, and our map name.gsc. Open up that. It opens up on another screen, of course it does. And I'm going to open up this Easter egg music script. Let's make this now full screen. So once we've got the script part open, we're going to copy this line here, level thread Easter egg music. And we're going to go down here to where we've got function main, and after ZM user map main, we're going to put that in there, like such. Then we're going to grab the rest of it, so we're going to go from the very last line all the way up to this comment, like such. These lines here are just comments, so it's, it's not actual code, if you will. We'll put it at the very bottom of here. You can see it just sort of separates the code out into sort of sections. That's like just the way I like to sort of lay things out. So once you've got that, let's sort of have a look over how this actually works now. So to begin with, we're going to pretty much set the triggers activated to 0. Okay, so this is how we're going to monitor how many triggers have been activated, how many things have actually been sort of used. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to grab all the Easter egg music triggers. So each of them bears have this as a target name, okay? Each of them sort of objects that we place had a target name. So we're going to grab all of them that are currently present. We're going to loop through them all, and we're going to thread this function here. Okay, so for every single one of them, it's going to run this function. Now, for this function, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a temporary entity just sort of around it, and we're going to play that looping sound. So that's that 3D sound that we have to sort of let us know how close or how far away the actual object is to our player's current position. So we can kind of play a bit of hide and seek with it, so we can sort of follow the sound to know where it actually is. Next, we actually go wait for that trigger to be activated. So we pretty much just going to wait here until you actually go up to and press F on it, or whatever your button is. Then once it's been activated, we're going to delete that trigger itself, and we're going to play a sound. Okay, so this is a sound that says, yep, you've activated it, some sort of audio notification. Okay, once we've done that, we're then going to increase the triggers activated. Okay, so this one that I said earlier, that it's sort of how to monitor how many of them we've activated. This is going to increase by 1 because we've just activated 1 more, and then it's going to test how many we've activated versus how many are actually present. In this case, we want all of them to be activated, so it's going to make sure that it's either more than or equal to the total amount. And then we're going to play the sound, which of course is the final music. So of course it will run this function, and when the actual final bear has been activated, this sound will play, because this condition then will be true. So that's kind of how that works. Hopefully that made sense. I know it was quite a fast overview. So I'm going to save that and X out of all this. There we go. Next what we need to do is actually put in the sounds into a map. Now, as I said earlier, you do need to sort of do these yourself, but I'll show you guys how to sort of link it to your map. If you do need help on actually setting them up for Black Ops 3, maybe you have like an MP3 file or something, there'll be 2 links in the description, two separate videos, which pretty much takes you guys over in quite a lot of detail on how these sort of work and how to set them up. But without getting too much into that now, I'm going to grab these, or 3 of these. I'm going to copy these. We'll go over to my Black Ops 3 root directory. We'll go over to sound assets. I'm just going to make a new folder in here. I'm going to call this my actual map name. So ZM test day. There we go. So within here, I'm going to place my sounds. I like to have a lot of my sounds quite map specific. It's just kind of the way I lay it all out. You can absolutely though put your sounds directly into sound assets if you want. I just like things to be nice and clean like this, in their own folders. So now we've done that, now we actually need to set up the sounds in the CSV file. So I'm going to grab this sound alias.csv. I'm going to copy this, go over to Black Ops 3. You will want to make a note on what you called these files in here, okay? Just to sort of make a note on, on what each one was actually called. You will need that in a second. So I'm going to go over to my share, raw, sound, aliases. I'm going to throw that into here. Of course, I've got a lot of them. You guys won't have all of them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this name. Okay, now you can absolutely leave this as it is, but I'm going to change this to my map name, .csv, just because, as I said, I like things to be map specific in this case. So I'm going to do zm_test_day. Okay, so that's now going to be our CSV file for this map. Of course, if you already have a CSV file that you're already using for your map, then absolutely just take out the lines from this file and put them into your own file. I'm doing this just assuming that you don't already have one, but if you do, perfectly fine. If you have, as I say, if you had seen my other video on, sounds and such, that'll make a lot more sense to, how CSVs work. It pretty much just links your sound to your map, if you will. And, and contains a few properties. So I'm going to open up this. I'm just going to edit it like this. Bring it onto the correct screen. Now I know this looks quite intimidating, don't worry. Now over here you'll see we've got Easter egg music, Easter egg trigger looping, and Easter egg trigger. Now these are the actual parts that are in the script, okay? So this is what the actual sounds themselves are called, okay? So each row is an individual sound, okay? Now in the actual script, we are calling the music Easter egg music. The trigger looping, which that 3D sort of sound around the object, that's that. And the actual sound that plays once you've activated the object is this one, okay? So this is what they are known as in script, okay? Next, what we need to do is, of course, rename the actual location. Now, everything else is kind of set up for you. If you do wish to change anything, feel free. But I've set it up to where I think it kind of covers most use cases. I think it would work quite well for most maps. It would really just be your volume levels that you'd be changing, if anything. So what we need to do is, of course, actually specify. I'll just put it up to it because we don't need to see everything. What we need to do now is specify the actual location for the sound. Now, as I said earlier, we needed to look at what them sounds were called. So if I keep this open, go to Black Ops 3, go to sound assets, and this is where we actually put it. So it starts, so here, it starts in sound assets, let's say, okay? So if you put your file straight into sound assets, then you don't need this folder part, okay? You can take that off, like that, okay? Because I didn't, and I put it into ZM test day, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, just so I don't have to type it out. Okay, the actual folder name, and I'm going to replace it. So where it says folder, I'm going to put the actual folder name in there, okay? Like such. Now, of course, if you have a different name for your actual file, then you'll be changing this part here. Make sure you keep the .wav at the end. Okay, you need the file extension. But all you'll be changing is, of course, the folder, or potentially multiple folders if if that's what you've done. And then, of course, the actual file name itself. Okay, and of course, do that to each three of them. Make sure that that you've got the actual correct sound within there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to save that. There we go. And I'm going to close that. Next, what we need to do is actually link this new CSV file to our map. Now, of course, if you already have a CSV and you've just added those 3 lines on to an existing one, you likely already have this step, already done. But I'm going to go over it anyway, just in case somebody hasn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my root directory. I know I called that CSV zm_test_day. Okay, if you've forgotten, go back into share, raw, sound, aliases, and make a note of what you called it. Okay. What I'm going to do next is go over to my user maps, go over to my actual map itself, which is ZM test day. And we'll go into sound. Yeah, that's correct. I always forget. Zone config, and open up this SZC file. Like such. What I'm going to do is open up this one here as well. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Just maximize this into the very bottom of this. Well, not quite the very bottom, but near there. So you'll see I've got 2 lines and then this one here. So directly into there. Okay, so 3rd line from the bottom. Paste that into there. Now, where you see CSV name, this is going to be the actual name of that CSV that we've just been using, which of course was ZM_test_day, like that. And I'm just going to copy and paste that over to the other line. Okay, so both lines will be the same with the second part of this. Sorry, just having the extension on the end as well. Okay, so ZM test date or whatever you code it. Of course, if you have a pre-existing one, you might already have it set up here, but just in case you don't have it. So save that. We'll close that. Now, because we've just done that, we've of course made a change to Radiant. We've also made a script change. We now need to go into the launcher, do a full compile for everything, and then once we've done that, we can go into game and I'll show you guys it's actually working. So I'll see you guys over at Black Ops 3. Okay then guys, so over at Black Ops 3, hopefully this isn't going to be too loud for everyone. I will actually have to pause the video low one so the music starts playing. So you can see we have 3 teddy bears. Get close to it. It plays the sound a lot more. And it gets quiet. So okay, so that works. Let's go to it and press F on it. It does that. Okay, it plays its sound. I'm going to do the third one just so you know it doesn't have to be in a specific order. Do this one. Now for this next one, I'm going to have to press it and then pause the video immediately just because it's going to start playing music. So, okay, so you heard the very start of it then. I don't obviously want to be playing music because of copyright reasons. So there you have it. You can put as many of these bears into the map as you want. I wouldn't go too insane. By putting like 100 in because I haven't tested the scripts, with an absolute ton of them. But it should work with quite a lot of them. It should be perfectly fine with a reasonable amount. I'm thinking more for like the actual engine limitations itself there. How many objects it can handle in script. So you guys, hopefully that has helped. If you do need any explanations on the way SAMs are working, please, as I said, please do look at the other 2 videos. I just didn't want to make this like a 40-minute video, going into extreme detail with everything. I felt like it was a bit over the top. So hopefully this has helped. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my very best to help you guys there. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye for now.